None.
It's no secret the Raiders need help at cornerback. They were burned early and often last year and looked lost. Receivers were left wide open in the middle of the field with defenders having no clue what's going on. Some of it could just be a bad scheme, but some of it has to be on the players as well. With that being said, let's look at the cornerbacks of free agency. We start with what the Raiders do have: John Smith and Garyon Conley. Conley is a talented player whose rookie year was decimated by injuries. He looked good the little bit he was out there, but nothing can be assumed. John Smith is paid a lot of money for what he does. He's best deployed on bigger, slower receivers and using his size and hands. These guys are likely the starting corners next season, and the position is in dire need of talent. The first free agent is the Raiders' own TJ Carey. Carey is all around a good defensive back and best used in the slot. He's not a game changer or a playmaker, but he's a starting corner in the NFL. If he can do well in Ken Norton Jr.'s scheme, I don't doubt he can do well anywhere. I would like to have him back on a cheap deal, but my guess is he follows the money and leaves. Next up, we have Super Bowl hero and then benched Malcolm Butler. Butler came in as an undrafted free agent and became Belichick's top cornerback. I always think the Patriots players are more scheme players that make him look better than they are. I believe that's the case again with Butler. Some team will overpay him like he's a number 1 corner when he's really a number 2. There will be a betting war for his services, and I think the Raiders should stay away. Now, we have Colts cornerback Rashaan Melvin. At just 28 years old, Melvin became a top cornerback in the league, and some would argue he became a shutdown corner. He was constantly asked to line up against the best receivers and did well. Despite coming off a season-ending hand injury, there's no question Melvin will be highly sought after in free agency. I'd love the Raiders to have him, but my guess is he prices himself out of the Raiders' price range. Kyle Fuller is much more the type of corner I want the Raiders to get. He's only 25 years old and has gotten better every year. He's on the taller side at 6 foot and can play inside or outside after just being a slot corner early in his career. He's young enough that a long-term contract isn't a problem and has played well. I think he's a borderline number 1 corner, and hopefully the Raiders don't overpay. Next, we have Super Bowl champion Patrick Robinson. He balled out as a slot cornerback and had a great season. He played well on the outside and great on the inside. At 30 years old, the one season could just be an outlier. He won't receive a big long-term contract, but he could receive big short-term money. The Raiders could certainly do worse than getting Robinson for the slot. It's not a big deal if he signs or not. We move into bargain territory, and I'd love the Raiders to sign Nickell Robey-Coleman. He's only 26 and has been solid overall, especially in the slot. He's proven he can cover well during his time in Buffalo and LA. He's a relative unknown who can turn into a good contributor. I'd love the Raiders to have him, and he could turn into quite the steal. Next, we have Prince Amukamara, and Amukamara has been a good number 2 cornerback in the NFL for a long time. He's not going to give you a lot of turnovers, but he doesn't get beat deep. He makes the tackle and is just a good cornerback. You know what you're going to get with Amukamara. You'll always wish he does more, but you won't appreciate him until he's gone. He could be an upgrade over Sean Smith, but at a much cheaper deal. Now, we move on to another player I want the Raiders to sign: Jaguars cornerback Aaron Colvin. He served as a very effective slot cornerback. The playoffs might have improved his brand, but he's still a relative unknown. That's great news for the Raiders. He's only 26 and his best football could still be ahead of him. He could be another bargain player that will be great value for the Raiders. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Bashaud Breeland. He is wildly inconsistent, but has shown the ability to be a number 1 corner. He's only 26 and will likely get a big money contract. There's just no way the Raiders will be able to afford him. I don't think he'll be worth the money, and it's best the Raiders just stay away.